Thank you all for being here. So this world here is public. You can come back here at any time over the next week or whenever you'd like. And I'm just going to kind of run you through what we have here. So this is our kind of like our whiteboard. All these red buttons give you a brief description of what you're looking at. How many of you have actually built a world before? Or are we all pretty much brand new to this? All right, brand new. We're perfect. No problem at all. Continue around to the back of the whiteboard. This here is for scripting. Now scripting is super powerful, but it's also very complicated. So these are kind of some basic fundamentals to think about. But if we walk into the sparkles, we're gonna get teleported to the scripting classroom. So let's go ahead through here. Perfect.
That's freaky.
Yep, so that's teleporting, which is a pretty simple script we'll wanna learn in this class. But the first thing that you're gonna see is we're here. This is another whiteboard, nothing on it this time. So what we're looking at here are all very simple scripts that I'd be happy to cover in class, but you can also come down here and inspect them on your own. I want to show you guys how to do that. So the first thing you're going to do is open up the menu. So if you click on the hamburger icon on your wrist, you're going to come to your home page. And if you go to the bottom right, there's a Create tab. And so if we go into the Create tab, do you see the Tutorials tab at the top?
Mine isn't even working.
Oh, okay. Try using the...
Sorry,
No problem. There's a home button on your actual controller next to the two buttons. It's like your Oculus button. Other controller.
Okay.
So try that on the other side. Okay, now do you see the menu?
It says home. Yes.
Correct. And if we go over to the right, there's a Create tab. And under Create, you'll see there's a Tutorials section. If you click on that, you're going to see some worlds that you can create and edit yourself. And when you go in there, they have some scripts already created and some elements that you can work with. And so the script samples one, that's the one that we're in right now. And so if you ever wanted to go in there, you could take this apart on your own time and really dive deep into each of these if you'd like. At this point, we're definitely not at that level, but I just want you to know how to access the tools when you need to. So we're all going to put our hands in. You guys can all come on over here.
This before. Ooh, we're making a bubble.
All right, if you want to add your hand there. Let's see, maybe we need to do that. Everybody's hand out one more time. Oh, there we go.
There.
Perfect. All right, welcome to the party. All right, so you guys have all been invited. If you can click the button to accept. That's okay, I can invite you manually if you don't see it. Okay.
Weird.
You're gonna get an invite in just a second to come here. So just wait.
There's constellations up there.
Yeah, that's where you teleported to. When you hit that button, it teleports you up to that planet.
Oh.
Yeah.
Cool. Oh.
Yeah, lots of little things to learn. So we'll get into some of that probably in our next class. Today we want to focus on just kind of basic build tools. So if you go to the Create tab under the hamburger menu, Agril.
I accidentally went into the safe zone.
Oh, no worries. So you should see,
Okay.
so if you go to Create and then you,
Collaborator request.
perfect.
Yeah.
Yep, accept that.
Enough?
Mm-hmm.
Accept.
Perfect. And then I'm going to invite you
And
here.
edit world?
Correct. Perfect. Didn't need any help. How quickly do you get motion sick? Like in VR? It can be pretty easy for some people.
I actually do.
Okay.
But, yeah, I actually do. So if I have to come out because I'm feeling kind of queasy.
No problem. Like when I first started building, I had to get out after about 15, 30 minutes. I couldn't last very long. It's very, when you're building, we're going to be moving around in a way that's not natural. But after you get used to it, you want to do it in 15-minute intervals. You're going to start feeling more comfortable. Your brain gets some stamina to that. So welcome, Agril.
I have I'm looking at my hand right now.
Mm-hmm.
There's like a little round controller with a person. Yeah, I don't know. It looks a little
Yes.
Is it supposed to be there?
That is. So that's only...
What is that?
Thank you for asking. That's only available in edit mode. So we're editing this world right now. So we were just here exploring it as players, but now we're creators. And so what I want you to do is pull down on your joystick towards that little character, and we're all going to become slightly larger. All right.
Oh, goodness.
All right, so before we start moving around, I know it's relatively new for you guys into VR, so we don't want to move too much. So the first thing I want to show you is how to become a person again. So to become a person again, on your left hand, it's the opposite direction. You see the person walking icon? So if you push up on that, we're going to spawn back down here onto that. So press up, and then we become players again.
You know, this feels more natural.
Good. If we go back into the create mode, let's actually get down to being at a more normal height. So now what I want you to do is with not your pointer finger, not your index finger, but your middle finger, you're going to grab with both hands at the same time and pinch and pull in. So go into the center and then pull in until it gets down to about 1x. It can be a little bit less or a little bit more. So I'm at 1.3, that's fine. So if you put your hands together and then pull them apart, and then you'll zoom in. There you go. And now if you grab with just one hand, not both, if you grab with one hand, not both, and move it around, you'll be able to move. I recommend you do this at a pretty slow pace for now. So if you grab and pull with your middle finger, so that's how we're going to move around. It's like grabbing onto an invisible handle and then pulling around. And you only use one hand. If you use both hands, you start zooming or rotating. Okay, perfect. So try grabbing outward and then pulling it towards you, and then grab outwards and pull towards. Let's go towards this tree. You can use both hands to do that as well. So you can grab and then do the next one. And you see how much further I'm moving right now? It's because I became bigger. So when you make yourself larger by grabbing out and pulling like this, so grab wide and then pull inward, you'll get bigger. Let's go to 3 or 4x, I think is probably a good idea. And now that we're at 3 or 4x, I want to go through all these controls with you. So there's quite a bit to work with. So everybody choose a tree. I'm going to choose this tree here. So everybody go to one of the trees.
I got this one.
To turn, you're going to grab with both hands and then rotate.
With your middle finger or your
Yep, with both middle fingers. So if you grab,
fingers, turn around.
try not to pinch your hands together and just hold them parallel.
I touch the tree and it just turns light.
Yeah, so if you hover over it, you see that yellow box that comes around? If you put your hand lightly inside of the tree, you're going to see a yellow box highlight around it. Okay? Now when you see that yellow box highlight, you're going to notice there's a green up arrow, there is red arrows to the left and right, and there's also a blue arrow going forward and back. It might be slightly different for you, but you'll see there's arrows on all the center points. Do you all see that?
Yes.
So what I want you to do is put your hand at the top green arrow, and when you do that, you're going to see there's an arrow that comes out of it. It turns into a box, and then there's an arrow icon on top. So grab the arrow icon with your pointer finger on your right hand and pull it up. So using your pointer finger, not your middle finger, girl. Oh, so that's using the square. So if you use the square, it allows you to stretch. And Gwen, you've grabbed the duplicate
I
tool.
grabbed the wrong piece.
No, it's totally fine. You're learning things, and that's great. Like that was perfect. But if you put your hand in,
Up and down, yep.
if you put your finger in there, there's another arrow up at the top. So once you put your finger in, then an arrow will appear, and then you can drag that arrow upward.
It's not doing it. It's not doing it.
So put your, oh,
Oh,
there you got it.
Okay, I had it. Okay. I was using like putting it in the center.
So Gwen, I'm gonna help you out real quick. We're gonna delete this duplicate. Looks like we got a few duplicates here. Grab the tip of it, and what you'll see happen when you put your hand in the box is an arrow is gonna pop out, and then when you put your hand in the arrow, it'll highlight. Once it's highlighted, then grab it. I see what the problem was, and I'm so sorry I didn't catch it earlier. If you look at your left hand, so everybody go ahead and look at your left hand for a second. If you wanna let go of it, Gwen, so if you wanna let go, and then use the undo button on your left hand by hitting the joystick to the left. There you go, perfect. And now if you look down at the bottom of your hand, you see the magnet tool that's highlighted, correct? So pull down on your joystick to unhighlight that. And for Verka and Eggroll, can you please try using the magnet tool? The magnet tool allows you to move in increments and intervals. And so now when you grab the arrow, it'll actually move smoothly, whereas before it wasn't moving at all because it was trying to find an increment to move to. So there you go.
Now it's moving.
Yep. And if you want to try using the arrow first, and then we're all going to try using the square after the arrow. Perfect. You got the arrow working great. Good job. And so if you guys want to grab the square rather than the arrow, let's try enlarging this tree and just making it a little elongated. There you go. Very nice. Use the square icon, not the arrow icon. So use the square at the bottom. There you go. Good job.
Oh, there it goes.
All right, so now that we
Up to the
all have slightly taller trees, what I want to do is go to the side of it. So go to the side of our trees, and you know, not all trees are perfect, so let's go ahead and enlarge it to make it a little bit wider than normal. So we'll have a slight elongation along the base. Feel free to turn off the snap tool on your left hand. So you're going to grab one of the ones on the side rather than the one on the top, and that will stretch it. There you go, perfect. And now everybody grab on that same arrow. You're going to see there's a arrow with like a U shape that comes out of the top of that. Do you see that? So rather than using the pointy arrow, grab that U-shaped arrow, and when you grab it, you can rotate the tree upside down. And then go over to the U-shaped arrow and click on that, and then flip the tree upside down. It'll rotate it upward.
Why does it say I'm at 40 or 50x?
You are really big right now, actually. Like, your head is about this big. Yeah, your head's about this big.
Now,
And- Perfect. Great job.
grab with your arm and pull yourself up. Pull yourself up with one hand. There you go.
Wonderful. This is fun. Now we've learned how to kind of use the...
I had one, but I got this.
We've all used the basic tools now that are on the tree itself. So what I'd like to do next is we're going to go ahead and grab the tree with one hand. So remember how we put our hand in the tree before and it highlights it yellow? Now grab it and you can move the tree around. So everybody do that. Try only using one hand when you move rather than two. Because when you use...
Okay, that must be
Yeah, there you got it.
tree.
And then once you've grabbed it and you're moving it, so you're using your middle finger, you want to use your index finger when you grab. There you go.
Oh, okay.
So now I want you to grab it with one hand, and then with your left hand, stick your left hand inside the square, and we're going to grab it with two hands, and you can shrink and expand your tree evenly. So before we were doing it only to one side or one proportion, but here we can do it evenly to all proportions. Like, I'd like to start by going to your right hand, and Gwen, you learned this a little bit faster than everyone else, but if you go to your right hand, there's a square plus icon. If you use the joystick to the right, you'll select the plus icon. And once you have that selected, you can...
Duplicate.
Correct. And you can click and grab on the tree, and every time you click and grab, you're going to create another duplicate of your tree. And so here, you can see I've created a small forest of 5 trees.
Why does this one look so much different than my other tree?
It looks like this one is somehow scaled. So maybe when you grabbed it with the duplicate tool, you used 2 hands, and that allowed you to scale it down. Yeah, so when you grab with the duplicate tool, you can grab it again with your left hand and then scale it to be slightly different sizes. So you could have a forest with a whole variety of types of trees. And only when you're in edit mode. In edit mode, there can be a maximum of 4 people in a single world. And so we're right on the cusp of that. Well, obviously we have exactly 4. So we're really pushing the boundaries for what is and isn't capable of with this application as they continue to develop it. But when you when you publish your world, you'll have noticed that when this world is published, we can have up to 8 people in it at a time. And so there is a limit to the amount of people, as every time a person is added, it does increase the complexity. But we'll get to that on another day of class. So there's a whole topic to discuss there. What I'd like to do now is go ahead and show you how to undo. So on your left hand, we have the undo code. If you want to go ahead and tap that a few times and undo your tree. And so I am back to a single tree, and you'll notice there's also a redo tab. So if you go too far back, you can just hit redo and it'll like add your tree back. So to delete a tree, put your hand in the tree that you want to delete and you'll see the yellow box appear. Then grab the tree, and once you've grabbed the tree and you're able to move it around, you'll notice there's a delete button at the bottom of your right hand. When you pull down on your joystick, it will delete the tree. Oh, I see. So when you pull down, you'll just want to pull down again when your hand is not in the tree. And once you have the lock icon highlighted, and if you click on it again, you can unlock the tree.
The lock is highlighted.
Okay.
And I've got a red dot at the top, which is
Perfect.
lock. Now I reach into the tree,
Yep.
down again.
Nope, you
and
actually
that lock is blue.
want to pull your pointer
Now it's
trigger.
locked up here.
So what you want to do is not pull down on the joystick, but click on your trigger finger, so your pointer finger.
Cool. Got it. Okay.
There you go.
A little bit
And
understanding locked works.
so it's unlocked right now, and now it's locked again. And now,
But my right controller is staying with that red dot.
that's because you're on the lock symbol. What you want to do is switch your joystick back up to the hand symbol once you're done unlocking it. So it's locked right now. Now it's unlocked. And if you go up to the hand icon, you can now grab it and move it around.
Okay.
And-
there we go.
And
okay.
while holding it, if you pull down, you can delete it. So if you pull down on the joystick, and that's how you delete.
Beautiful.
Wonderful.
Oh, 'cause I keep forgetting that you gotta put it back up to that grab before you can grab it again.
Yeah. It's muscle memory you're going to
Looks like
build
it should
over
just-
time. So let's go ahead.
How do I delete it?
So what we need to do is unlock it as well. So what you're going to do is go down to the lock tool. So once you have the lock tool, then you can put your hand inside and click with your index finger. And then you'll unlock it. Yep. And once you see, now it's unlocked. So I see that it's unlocked. Now push up on your joystick to go back to the hand tool. And now that you have the hand tool, you use your index finger to grab it and then pull down while you're grabbing it on the joystick. So when you're holding it, look at your hand and you'll see there's a delete icon at the bottom. So grab the tree and you see the trash can
I see it.
and you pull down and you got it. Perfect. Good job.
Leveling.
Yes. So if you use that snapping tool,
I'm like not perfect with straight.
so if you, no problem. So if you go to your left hand, if you pull down on the joystick, there's a snap tool. And then when you click and let go, it'll snap it into place. So once you have snap highlighted on your left hand, so you just pull down on the joystick and then use
Okay.
your right hand to reach inside and then just click it once. There you go.
Okay.
So does everybody learn how to use the snap tool? Your tree's looking good. They look snapped. Agril, have you got the snap tool under control?
I have not snapped.
It looks like you've got it now, so it's now level. And now let's learn about selecting objects. Add a second tree. So everybody go ahead and add one extra tree. Gwen, you're already set. We'll leave the snap tool on so they're level trees.
Okay, leave the snap on. Make a duplicate.
So duplicate is the tool on your right hand. That's a plus icon. So you have got a duplicate in there. There's probably quite a few. They're piled on top of each other.
That's first now. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go ahead and
How do you know that you have more?
I'm gonna go ahead and delete these multiple trees. And so the reason I could see it is because they were like there was kind of a glitch along the edge of the tree. And so when it was perfectly inside, there was kind of like this, you see how it's kind of doesn't perfectly
Yeah,
align.
it's like a shadowing. Yeah. Shadow.
Yeah, so that's what happens when there's two things in the
I thought
same
it was
spot.
just what it was supposed to look like.
So what I want you to do is use the duplicate tool, but don't let go. Continue pulling the tree out once you click. So click and then pull. There you go.
Oh, beautiful.
Wonderful.
All right. Thank you so much.
No problem. We're going to go back to the hand tool. And on your hand tool, you're going to not go inside of the tree. You're going to click on the outside of the tree, click and hold, and then drag through both trees, and you'll see they both get highlighted. Correct. Yep. So once you have both trees highlighted, Agril's got it. Zerka, you got it. Gwen, how are we doing? Looks like you might have it.
You gotta use your forefinger. Oh,
My
get your forefinger down.
So click and hold outside of the tree and then drag through the trees. So start on the outside and then drag through. Perfect. Great job.
okay.
So we've all got our trees, and now when you put your hand inside, you can do the exact same things you were doing to the other single tree, but now to both trees. So we can move them around, we can rotate them, we can scale them. And so now we can do two objects at the same time. Start us in a beginning world with absolutely nothing in it. It can be a little bit frightening not having a tree to work with, not having a floor to work with, but we're gonna just throw the whole classroom out of the window and we're gonna start from ground zero. Once you're a player, what I want you to do is press on the left hamburger icon, either on your wrist or on on your controller itself. So that's like the Oculus button, but on your left hand, and you'll see the home menu. Do you see that? So from the home menu, I want you to click the Create tab and click Create New World. It's not going to create a world immediately. You're going to see some options. Do you guys see the options?
Yes.
Wonderful.
Yes.
So
Options you can choose.
from here, you can choose pre-designed options. I don't want to choose these because I think we might have too many objects with all four of us in there. So we're going to go with the blank world. But as you can see, there's a lot for you guys to choose from when you want to go try this on your own. I highly recommend just kind of jumping in, messing around. And let's go create a blank world. And I'm going to invite you guys right now. Don't have to click any buttons. If you want to, on your wrist or on your controller, hit the hamburger icon to close that menu. You'll see I just sent an invite. And if you can click accept, thank you, Gwen, thank you, Zerka. All right, so we're going to travel to the blank new world, and I'm going to show you guys how to create objects and get started from the ground up. We're going to go ahead and go into build mode again. So everybody's in build mode. All right, welcome back. So now that there's absolutely nothing here, let's go ahead and start by creating some ground. So on your left hand, if you click the hamburger icon, you can't click it with your hand. You have to click it on the controller itself. So that's this small Oculus button on your left controller. You're going to open up a menu that shows a bunch of shapes. Let me know when you can see the shapes. So you have to actually use your thumb on your left hand. So use your left thumb on there's a button on your controller itself.
Okay, I see.
Perfect.
Got you.
So does everybody see the shapes? Wonderful. So inside the shapes, what I want you to do is start by scrolling down, and you'll see one that looks kind of like a barrel or a tree trunk. It's white and it looks like this. So when you grab this, pull it out. So just put your hand in and pull it out of the menu. Perfect. You guys got it? Now if you use both hands, you can grab in and shrink and scale it. And so if you're on snapping, as I can see you are, you can snap it to as you scale, or you can get smooth scaling by turning snapping off on your left hand.
Okay. Oh, you can spin it around.
Yeah.
Do all kinds of neat stuff. Hey.
So what I want everybody to do first is we're going to start by creating our very own tree. So last time you had to work with the tree I created for you, but that was a plain and simple tree. Let's go ahead and make our own unique trees, and I'll let you guys decide how you want to design that. So you have all of those objects to choose from in terms of your design.
Oops. How do you get rid of this screen?
You hit the icon,
Is that not...
hit it again, and it'll close it.
Oh, okay. Okay. Okay.
Yep. Mine doesn't look like a tree yet, but I think it will. I've designed so many trees, I just want to do something different. There we go. And now let's go to our redo. And then put your hands, both hands inside, and then grab and pull it out. But make sure your hand icon is selected. Okay, perfect, you got it. And now you can scale that to the size you're looking for. So these trees are very, very pale. We need to add some color. So once you guys have your basic tree design, let's go ahead and grab our paint tools. So let me know when you're ready, and I will show you how to do that. It is a little off-centered, so it looks like you have both objects selected at the same time. So go ahead and use your right hand and click outside. It's just one tap with your hand, that'll unselect it. And then pointer click, try your right hand, not your left hand. And no worries, there you go. So now it's unselected. So now if you come down to the bottom and grab the base, I usually go underneath the tree to center it. And then using the trunk, you can grab it and center it. And then probably put your snapping tool on. So if you use your middle finger, you can move your body to go underneath the tree.
Sorry.
No worries.
Oh, cool.
So if you open that menu again, it might be in the wrong position. We've all gone down a little bit low. So if you put your hand inside of the menu, you can actually move the menu around just like you can an object. So I just moved mine up in the air. So now I can look up to grab objects. So let me know when you've moved your build menu around into a place where you can see it.
Yeah, I'm good.
Perfect. And you can also scale it if you wanted to. You can make it really big or small if that works better for you. And so once you have that, hit the paintbrush tool, which is next at the bottom, next to the square icon, there's a paintbrush. And when you select the paintbrush, you can click on any color. And then when you put your hand inside the tree, you just click one time and it'll change the color. Very nice.
Oh, cool.
You don't have to be realistic. We're in VR. There we go. And
So what does the difference mean when it's solid, plastic, metal, or glow?
great question. Try them all out.
Color?
So if you use a plastic, it's going to look like plastic. It's going to have slight plastic reflections. Here, take a look right here at my tree. Do you see how this one looks plastic versus this looks solid? That's the difference.
Yes, they're like a balloon.
And then if we use metal, we can change it, and now it looks like a metal object. So you can see it looks like kind of a...
Oh, that's kind of cool.
And if you go to glow...
Hey, I like your tree.
Thank you. We can make it glow, and glowing green puts off a green light. It's really bright if I go all the way to intense, but if I go less intense, I can make it glow light green, or if I go all the way down, I can get this really soft glowing green, which you really can't even tell it's glowing. So maybe even a little higher than that would be better. But so that's kind of like objects around it are getting lit up by a green light bulb, basically. So Agril, we were building trees here. Do you remember how to use the build menu?
Yep.
So let's go ahead and open that up.
And I've been practicing, so I'm
You want to build a tree with us? I think we are all shadows for some reason. This is what happens when you play a game that's in beta. There's many bugs. You guys are doing great. I am so proud of you guys. This is our first class and we're building trees. We're using glow and so much more. Is there any questions you have about any of the materials we've covered so far?
Yeah, for some reason, you can see it's like white now. I don't know why that happened. I was pushing buttons trying to do the glow and all that stuff, and it turned white, and now I can't get any color on it.
So this is just really intense glow. So if you go back to the glow tab, so if you're under paint, you'll see there's a material intensity. Change your material intensity down to like 15 or 20% rather than where it's at. And when you change the paint color, if you go and paint it again, it'll look like a more normal color. It'll still be glowing, but it won't be white. There you go.
Okay.
And you can see there's kind of a green glow being put off on the ground there too. Or I'm seeing it. I can't tell. It's kind of hard to see. But I think if we
Yeah, I can't see that.
if we grab an object that's not glowing,
What did I do?
solid, and
Oh, okay.
you see how that's kind of putting off a green
I
tone?
see it on there.
It's very light, but the more intense you make it, the more obvious it becomes. Did you have any questions I can answer right now?
Nope.
Okay,
Having
perfect.
fun.
Good. That's great. It's like the ultimate Lego toolbox. It's amazing. Have you guys discovered the different tabs of color? So there's multiple palettes. So we start on Bold Discovery, but if you click on Bold Discovery in the Paint tab, you can change it to Playful Dreams, Joyful Harmony, or Autumn Stroll, which come with a bunch of different colors that you can try out. So what I'd like everyone to do is create a fruit for their tree. It doesn't have to be a real fruit, it can be a made-up fruit. But remember, you can always stretch the shapes to match what you're looking for. So you got all three of these selected. So if you click outside of it, you'll unselect them. Now they're all selected.
Yeah, I'm trying to unselect it.
There's one other way you can unselect. When you've grabbed multiple objects, if you click and hold and then drag through the objects that are selected, it will unselect the object. There you go. All right, so once you guys have your fruit ready, we're gonna go and do slightly advanced and make the fruit grabbable.
It's hard to grab just the fruit and not all the others.
So here's a trick. Try grabbing and dragging through all of the objects you want to grab or not grab. And so say you wanted to grab one of these apples. So when you grab and drag through, it's going to select the big object. Well, when you click again and drag through, you can unselect any objects that you will click. So you can unselect the big object and just be left with just the small object.
Got it. Okay. Very cool.
Great job with your fruit. So everybody grab one fruit off your tree. So we're all going to grab one fruit. If you only have one fruit, that's fine. And then we're going to have the fruit and put your hand inside the fruit. And you'll notice there's a 3-dot icon when you have it highlighted but not clicked. Do you see that where it says Properties? And then press upward on your joystick to open the ellipses.
I
So
cannot see that properties.
let me come and help you over here. So when you put your hand inside,
Behavior.
make sure you have the hand tool open.
I don't see anything.
So make sure you're on the hand tool, then put your hand in and press up on the properties. Did that open it? There it is.
Oh, there we go.
Okay, so everybody's looking at the properties here. And so we're gonna go and make this interactive. So you see under where it says motion, you can click interactive. Do you see that? Once you've made it interactive, we have two options. We can either make it grabbable and have physics, or we can just do grabbable only. In the case of our fruit for today, I want to stick with just grabbable. If we add physics, they're just going to fall from the tree, and we don't want that to happen, so we're just going to stick with grabbable fruit. So if you want to make it grabbable, and you can do that to all your fruit, or you can just duplicate the one fruit that you made. Then you can close out of the properties menu. So it just happens that it's right inside this tree. So go ahead and click undo to move it back to its original spot, and then use that lock icon to lock the tree so you can't touch it anymore. That way it stays put. Did it turn black for you?
Okay, so yeah, it did.
I think that's a glitch. It should actually be the right color.
Okay.
So unfortunately, I don't.
I'm gonna leave it the way it is.
Yeah, it should
Put it on the tree,
hopefully be right.
and we just gonna have the blueberries. We're gonna call these blueberries.
Yes. Let's try going into play mode. Does everybody have their fruit on their tree?
I was just gonna say, yeah, cool.
Let's try it out. So
Play mode.
if we hit the up arrow on our left hand, you'll come down here as a player. And we should be able to reach up and grab the fruit off of our trees. So I got one. So if you reach up, a little icon appears. And then if you grab it with your middle finger, you can pull it off.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
I love the glowing fruit. This is a really unique take on the tree. I love it. Great job.
Yeah, that's really cool.
I'm going to send you an invite. Can you
I
guys...
can hold it, but if I leave it there, it just floats. And that's okay.
Yes, we're going to get into gravity soon. But for now, we're going to stick with non-gravity objects. So if you guys can click the visit or accept button, it's in front of you. Agril, do you see that?
Yeah.
If you can click that for me.
Paperwork. I got it. All right.
All right, here we go. This is our world.
That was pretty cool.
And now everything looks correct. So I just published our world, so people can come and check this out now. And next week, we'll publish another update.
Oh no! That is cruelty. Right.
The pressure's on.
This is our first one.
This is great, though. For your first hour in building, this is incredible.
I like the platform. I really like this cool pink thing.
It also fixed the
Kinda
color.
creative.
The colors are now fixed on your fruit up there, too. So that's really nice.
Oh,
Cool. Okay.
So, yeah, everything looks good.
funny.
I think it is cool.
Yeah, no, this is a great start. And next week, we'll work on some more. Is there anything specific you guys want me to prepare for next week that you'd like to learn about, or anything that you've seen that you're interested in doing?
I am interested in when you have things like this and you're making the activity, how something happens for an outcome. Like if you were to, like if you picked that fruit, it meant that it automatically caused a shooting star, or
Yeah,
how does something happen when you do something?
absolutely. Definitely looking forward to showing you that. And we'll go into that in far more depth next time. I think that's the basics of scripting, and I can't wait to start showing it to you. I'm actually going into a class in half an hour to teach scripting basics like that right now. And but next week we'll get into that. We just needed to start here. And feel free to spend the next week coming in on your free time, coming into this world. If you click on your hamburger icon on your left hand, go to the Create tab, you'll see we have Lakes Classroom, or maybe it's still listed as Untitled Room. Oh no. So under there, if you scroll to the bottom where it says Publish, do you see that? It says Lakes Beginner Class 1, and then you can click Edit. It even has a picture of our trees. Do you see that?
Okay, cool. Yeah.
So if you go to your,
It's under create.
if you scroll down, there should be a published area, and it should say Lakes Beginner Class 1, and then you can click Edit World, and that's where we were just a minute ago.
4 minutes.
And so that's how you can go back and edit. So feel free to go in throughout the next week and make changes and make additions to your tree or anything you'd like, and then we'll continue and pick up class next week on Saturday.
Wonderful. Great. This is amazing.
Yes, thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
I'll see you guys then. Bye.
All right, you have a good day.
You too.